So that was weird. So the good news is, and this is rare, the meltdown was not on my end. It happened at the studio. So I'm just happy it wasn't me. It usually is me. So
Yeah, that's what I was freaked out because it was like this Wirecast logo would come up randomly and the audio would cut out, and I was like, this isn't right. There's something
yeah,
going
that's not
on.
me. That's
This
not
isn't
me.
right.
Hey, also, am I kind of half on the screen, or am I just is my screen that resized right here? I look.
No,
Oh
you're
no.
good.
Okay, that was it. I look like you're only seeing like half. I like. Okay, that's better. Let me. Should I move over? Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Hey. All right. So before we get
So
too far
anyways,
down
back
this
to our
rabbit hole,
story.
let's do our first story. All right. I have an image.
Yep.
Let me bring it up here. Hang on. All right. So this is my first image, and I want to give you the story behind the shot because it's a semi-interesting story. So the building that you're looking at is a hotel. It's billed as the world's only 7-star hotel. So we know we go from 1 to 5, but this hotel is so fabulous they made it a 7-star hotel. It is you can't tell, but it's actually taller than the Empire State Building. It is a giant, giant, giant building built on its own island in Dubai. The name of the hotel is the Burj Al Arab. Now, I was there actually doing an Adobe gig. So I was doing an Adobe gig in Dubai, and Adobe put me up at this like Swiss hotel. It was very nice, but I had always dreamed of going and seeing this hotel. Like this was my dream hotel, and I was with my brother and I was with my buddy Jeff, and so I thought I want to stay there one night, just one night to see what it's like to stay there. So I stayed there one night. And I got up, well, the night that we checked in, I wanted to go shoot the hotel. Now, there is a public beach on the other side of the hotel, which doesn't look nearly as cool. And this is the side everybody wants to shoot it from, but it's a private beach. But I'm a hotel guest. And that was one of the reasons why also I figured if I was a hotel guest, they'd let me do things that they wouldn't let the public do. So I get out there and I set up my tripod. And I kid you not, it's almost as if they had a sensor listening for the leg of a tripod. I pulled out that first leg and security came from everywhere. They were like rappelling down from the sky, pulling up on jet skis. They were on little tractors, little four-wheel drives. They were everywhere. There was security literally all over me. I will say this, singularly the nicest security guards in the world just couldn't be more apologetic that they were not allowed to let me use my tripod. They were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I hate to tell you this, but you're not allowed to use a tripod on the beach." And I'm like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah." And I didn't want to. I'm in a foreign country. I didn't want to push my luck, so I said, "Okay, I don't have to use my tripod." Though it was dark enough where I did need to use my tripod. But anyway, I packed up my tripod and I did a couple of handheld shots, and they were pretty cruddy, but they were pretty insistent on me moving on. So the next morning I woke up and I'm talking to my brother and Jeff, and I'm like, man, that was a drag. I stayed here. I'm a hotel guest, and I can't even take a picture of the hotel, on a tripod. It's sunset and all. So my brother says, why don't you go talk to the manager or something? And I said, you know what? I'm going to go talk to the head of security. So I called the concierge and said, can I meet with the head of security? And I got to go down to his office. Very nice guy, super friendly, very, very nice, because I'm a hotel guest. And I said, I was on the beach last night and I set up my tripod. He's like, yes, I know. I'm like, uh-oh. So anyway, he goes and he tells me this, you have to understand, it's very important how, we handle the look of the hotel and how the hotel is portrayed around the world and all this kind of stuff. So he goes to this whole thing about telling me how important it is, how it's portrayed and all. And I said, so you're okay with me taking a photograph handheld? Yes, absolutely. But I can't set up a tripod. That's correct. And I said, so what you're saying is it's okay if I take a crummy shot of your hotel, but if I actually set up a tripod where it would be really still and nice and it would be a nice sharp shot, I can't take that. And he's like, yes, unfortunately, you can't. And I said, so it's okay for me to go back to America and show shots of your hotel that don't look very good. Is that what you're saying? It's okay for me to come back and show crappy shots? And he just went silent. And I can tell he's thinking, and he kind of looks up and he says, because he's thinking, that just puts a torpedo in my whole argument. So he goes, how many shots do you need? And I said, 6. And he said, okay. He reaches in his pocket. He pulls out his business card. He says, here's my business card. If anybody says anything to you, you tell them that you talked to me and I said it was okay. I said, great. Thank you very much. I go out there the next day. And now that I have permission, now that I got the guy's cards, how many security guards, Eric, do you think showed up on that beach that next night?
0.
0. I'm dying for someone to come up so I can whip out his card and go, oh no, I've got the big guy's approval. Nobody, not a security guard in sight, no one. I'm all alone on the beach. There's no one on the beach. It's just me and my tripod. And I only have a few shots, so I'm just going to really savor the moment. I'm waiting until just the right time and stuff. And I got my shots and left, and everything was fine. But it's so funny how, security everywhere around the world, you set up a tripod and everybody has to freak out. And all it does is hold my camera steady. That's all it does. It's not a weapon. It doesn't mean it's a commercial photograph. I'm not going to sell it. It's just I want a sharp shot. And man, the whole world freaks out. But anyway, the story behind the shot is by being really polite, really friendly, and they were. It was easy to be friendly because they were very friendly. But being friendly almost always works. Being friendly is just like a basic tenet of life. We should always be friendly to everybody all the time, except for Erik, maybe. Anyway, but that's my first story. That's my story of just asking the security guy, and he let me do it. Sometimes just being willing to ask more. Oh, can I tell you a follow-up story?
Mm-hmm.
So jump like 7 years later, I go back to Dubai, and I'm staying at the Oberoi Hotel, and I was a guest of the prince. So anyway, so I send an email to the manager of the hotel, and I didn't tell him I was a guest of the prince. I just said, hey, I'm going to be a guest in your hotel on this night and all, and I see that you have a rooftop bar. Would it be okay for me to go to your rooftop bar at sunrise and take a photograph of the city from there? And he wrote back and said, oh, no, that would be my pleasure. I'd be happy. And he was very nice and kind just by sending an email. And I didn't try to give him any credentials or anything. I just said, I'm a guest staying in your hotel and I'm a photographer. I would love to take a picture from the top. So first let me show you the picture first. So here's the actual shot. And I have a behind the scenes shot of me taking it, and it's quite glamorous. So that hotel on the far right is the tallest hotel in the world. So tallest building in the world. So that's the Burj Khalifa. And then these buildings are just buildings in front. So this is the view from my hotel. And then I got a behind the scenes shot. So this is the glamorous shot of me shooting it. Now it's just after dawn at this point. And I'm doing something I do not like to do. I am standing on a bar stool. Now, Erik, how many steps on a ladder will it climb? 1, maybe 2. Yeah. Dude, I was terrified the whole time I was on that bar stool. But I wasn't going to let it pass by. And look how high the glass is. So the glass was like 8 foot tall. So the only way I could get the shot was to climb up on that bar stool with help of Brad Moore, who was with me. Brad helped me get up there so I didn't fall over or anything. And literally, I'm either leaning my camera on the glass, or there's enough for me to hold it out. But I have to try to hold it out a little bit and hold it steady. So I'm firing lots of shots because I figure one of them will be sharp, and it did work. That old trick works really, really well. But that's the glamorous behind the scenes shot of me shooting from the bar on the top of the Oberoi Hotel in Dubai. So not perhaps the most glamorous behind the scenes shot, but a behind the scenes shot nonetheless. All right, Mr. Kuna, what do you got?
Interesting with that story because, I think one of the things that people don't realize a lot of times is just asking for permission is kind of like, that's where to start. Because it's amazing how many times, either pulled a permit and all that, or gone through all the hoops to get approval. And then what ends up happening is, like you said, you go out on the shoot and then nobody asks you for anything. So you're like, why did I go through all this? However, those times when I haven't, that's the times when suddenly you get everybody
Yes.
in your business and asking and wanting to kick you off the property.
Oh
So,
yeah, and Eric, the manager had when I asked at front desk, I said I was supposed to be able to have access. They're like, "Oh yeah, I saw a note about it." They sent a security guard with me. The security guard took me up there. He unlocked the door and he left.
yep,
That was it.
yep.
Me and Brad had an hour up there all by ourselves. Nobody up there. Nobody to say you can't do this, you can't do that. And so yeah, we had the place to ourselves. But it's amazing how what doors will open just by being friendly and asking.
Yep. Just asking. Yeah.
And you're right though. If we just done it, we'd have gotten huge trouble.
Yep. And that's it. So just asking sometimes, getting those shots. But yeah, I mean, I've got a few shots here. Let's start with this first one. So this is the shot we went after. So basically, had a rocket launching with 3 Teslas. So we had a Model S, a Model 3 that had just come out at the time, and a Model X. So, going through like kind of the story of how this comes together, right? So this shot was kind of like one of those things where, I really wanted to combine the rocket and these vehicles together, because obviously being Tesla and SpaceX kind of merging together. The Model 3 had just come out. It just happened to be, I knew a guy that had just got the Model 3 because he actually took my reservation, because I had a reservation. That's what car I have now. But I had to wait because I wanted the white interior, and they didn't have the white interior. So I knew the guy who had the Model 3, and then I went, ooh, I know somebody has a Model S, and I know somebody has a Model X. Let's try to make this happen. So how do we go about that, right? So first things first is I actually went through and we kind of looked around the area. So I worked with a couple of the photographers on this at the time, who I worked with in the past. So we kind of all collaborated on this project. One of the guys lived over there. We kind of scoped out these locations. So this was this Jetty Park area, which is along the canal there. And just to put that in perspective, there's the pad where it was going to launch from 12 miles away, and where we're looking to shoot. So what we had to do is weeks ahead of time, we're kind of like scoping it out, prepping it, making sure that it'll work. And then what we'll end up doing is like finding a location. So we ended up settling on this corner location here on the pier. So what's cool about, being able to predict this stuff is now that we know the GPS location we're going to want to shoot from, we actually took that into a flight tracker. So there's actually a program called Flight Club that will actually map out trajectories of rockets. So it's cool because you can just plug in that location, and you can actually see here, this is that the beach here, and then that's the rocket trajectory as we thought it was going to be on the morning. So what was interesting about that is we had to go through a lot of planning. So one of the things that we actually did is the day before, we had brought the cars there the day before, but we didn't have the Model 3 because the Model 3 couldn't come till the next day. So that's actually Tom's car that's in there standing in is like the model for the Model 3. But what's interesting about this is when we were going through the planning, we realized the port might be a problem. And as you can see, that's why there'd be a problem. That Carnival cruise ship or the cruise ships would come by at a certain time of day. And we only had, we had looked up the port times. We only had a half an hour between ships. So we had to like figure out, are we going to be able to squeeze this in that amount of time? So actually that's where, and I have to go this way to show you videos because Lightroom won't play videos in full screen for some stupid reason. But anyways, like there's the cruise ship coming through the port, there's us the day before kind of figuring out our locations, figuring out what we're going to do. So we actually had a Disney boat come through and this is the day of, we actually had the Disney boat come through, and it had come through right on schedule. So right when it said it was going to come through, the rocket was launching like 15 minutes later. So we lucked out because we were like, okay, the planning worked. The cruise ships are going to be between the rocket launch, so they're not going to obstruct our view of what we're creating. So then what we did is we actually, because we had such a risky shot, we actually had 3 different cameras going at the same time just to kind of get different angles of it. So you can see, then the other thing we did is we used light painting. So what we had done with light painting is when we were in darkness, we actually painted the cars. And then what would happen at that point, which you can see here, oh, my screen's freaking out because Lightroom. So you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but basically we painted the cars with light just to kind of like figure out like where we want light to spill, where we want light to be illuminating out of, flash the headlights, did all that kind of stuff. So took a bunch of exposures and then basically got it to where you load all those exposures into Photoshop, and then you can just start layering up what you want the image to be based on all that light painting we were doing. So then we can kind of paint the cars back into the scene. So that was kind of the look and the shot we were going after. You know, it proved to be a little, I guess, more difficult than we thought, just because, you know, the elements out there. We've got boats going by, we've got people going by. We had to run security with like making sure that nobody would come around the cars and stuff like that. So it was definitely one of those where it's a big production for the final image, right?
Oh, I think you trailed off there for a second.
Yeah, it's Lightroom. Lightroom loves to play video. So anyways, we used ice light, and that's all we did. We had the ice light with a barn door, and that's what we were using to paint the cars. We had it. I put it on my monopod that I used to shoot sports. You know, screwed it into the monopod, and I would just kind of move it around the cars. We're taking shots of it, and then cool. That's a shot of it at the end. You know, there's the cameras going around, and then you can see there's the shot after we were done. And then you end up with these images. So we had that image from one of the angles, and we ended up with that image from another angle, and then finally an image where we didn't paint back in the headlights and kind of left it more natural. So yeah, so that's kind of the story of that shot. I mean, there's just a lot of planning that goes into these things, a lot of the coordinating between all this stuff, and a lot of luck in between there. Because that's one of the things that's very interesting about these shots is like you could plan and you can plan and you can plan, but if that cruise ship would have came in 15 minutes sooner, it would have blocked the whole shot. So it's just a matter of luck at a certain point.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah. I got to applaud you because having a vision like that, like you knew what you wanted to do. Now, I don't know if everybody knows the reason why Erik tied those two things together is Elon Musk. So Elon Musk owns SpaceX and he owns Tesla. So by putting them two together, it's a visual tribute to the same company, basically, and the same guy who the genius that thought it up. He should stay off of Twitter. However, outside of that, he's definitely a genius, and those two companies are just, you know, amazing. So it was a very cool thing that you had the whole idea. You wanted to do 3 cars. You wanted to use an odd number, which is important, right? In photography, that's an important aspect of it. You wanted to have great light. You wanted to have it where the car lights were on. I mean, you really thought all these things through and did a lot of research. And I love it when you see a plan like that come together. So my hat's off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it's great because all that planning goes into that. And then you do get a lot of people recognizing that work. That this picture is actually hanging in Tesla's office. So they have this picture, hanging in their office. They also, a couple Tesla companies have licensed it as well for their use as well. So it definitely had a long tail to the project, you know.
That's
when it
cool.
comes to that stuff. So,
well deserved. Yeah. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've got some more stories, some more images. We got some shout outs. Want to say hi to everybody out there that's watching it. And we will see you in just a moment. So when we come back, more stories behind the photos. Stick around. We'll be right back on the grid.
Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. My name is Serge Romley. I'm a French photographer living in Los Angeles, and I specialize in cityscape. I've done 7 books, and you can find my work in over 85 galleries around the world with the Yellow Corner network. Now, I got found, and not just because I had an amazing portfolio. And I decided to use SlickPick for my portfolio because it's one of the only technology that's really made just for photographers. After using WordPress, Squarespace, and Wix for many years, I switched completely over to SlickPick because it's got features which are amazing, like the ability to share an album to only 3 people or 5 links or just for 24 hours, the ability to do watermarking on the fly or incredible borders around your photos. But it gets even better than that. You have a special offer. For the price of just hosting your website, if you're a Kelby One member, you can get a professional that will design your portfolio for you. Having a portfolio in the first place is how I got all this job. So get a portfolio with SlickPick. It could change your life. So here is how it works. 1, upload your best photos to your galleries. 2, answer a few quick questions about your preference. 3, let SlickPick professional designers create a stunning portfolio website for you. Head to slickpick.com/KB1 to reserve your seat and sign up. Act now to take advantage of this incredible offer as spaces are limited.
Would you believe us if we told you that you could fit studio lighting in your pocket? Well, Lytra has made it possible. Lytra is a global award-winning brand that designs and manufactures professional-grade camera lights that are compact, rugged, and waterproof. Whether you're using Lytra gear in a photo studio or underwater, Lytra's mission is to provide content creators with flexible and unlimited lighting tools that can mount on any camera, anywhere. Their lights come with a high CRI or color rendering index, making them some of the most color accurate lights in the industry. Due to the light's compact and rugged design, photographers are able to use the lights in ways that their studio lighting never could. Lytra has also made multiple lighting accessories available to fit your every need as a creator. Whether you're shooting portraits, nailing a product shot, or even flying your drone, they have got you covered. Lytra enables photographers and filmmakers to focus on their craft and create something beautiful. What will you create?
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey everybody, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Mr. Erik Kuna, and as you just saw, we had an ad there from SlickPick, and we want to welcome them as one of our new sponsors. Erik and I were talking about it, and they really seem like they're designed for photographers. Like they really seem like their whole thing. It's not like they're, I don't want to mention any other names, but other companies that make websites that I don't think photographers were their first choice, but I think here you can tell the folks at SlickPick are really they're building their stuff for photographers.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's the thing with it is, when you go to those other sites, they're kind of designed for other things first, and then photographers are a line item. This is something where this is photography first. So definitely really cool.
If Serge really likes
Yes.
them, look at the success that Serge has had, right? So
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
we're very proud to have them on board. We're really glad to have them. And this is something Erik and I are fanatical about, photographers having portfolios. That's a very big thing. It's an important thing, I think. And one of the things I used to talk about, I used to literally answer the question, why should a photographer have a portfolio? And one of the things that I said was, when you are forced to put together a portfolio, like you decide, you're not forced to do it, but you decide, all right, I want to take, 24 of my best images and stuff. At the moment when you do that and you're sitting there and you're looking at your images, even if you never hit share, if you never even hit the button that says, okay, make these public, you now, for maybe the first time in your career, have a good sense of where you are as a photographer. Now, you might look at your best 24 images, or if you've done multiple galleries, maybe 48 images or whatever, and you might go, hey, you know what? I'm getting there. I'm on my way. Or you may look at it and go, you know what? I got some work to do. Or you may be like, I'm the man. It doesn't matter what the answer is, because they will all help you. Whether you need some work, isn't that good to know? Or if you're coming along and you're getting encouraged and you're getting confidence, isn't that good to know? Just having thousands and thousands of images scattered all over your hard drive is not going to move you forward. It will actually help your photography career, not by what you sell or how you share it, but the act of putting together a portfolio is a building block, and it's important, and you should do it. And now there's a great resource for it. So anyway, just wanted to put that aside. Want to welcome SlickPick. Glad to have them here. And of course, you'll be hearing a lot more about them as we go, but honored to have a new sponsor. Welcome aboard. All right, Mr. Kuna, shall I share another photo?
Yeah, share one. What do you got?
Let's go. All right, so the image that I'm going to share with you here is from a cathedral in London. Now, it looks pretty epic. This is, well, I'll tell you more about the name of the cathedral in a moment, but it's absolutely stunning, and I found it during my research. So before I go to a city or a country, I do a lot of research. I've learned the hard way. Trying to find it when you get there is not the key. When I go any place, I have a list. Here are the things I want to shoot, and I've gotten a bunch of sample pictures to make sure that I come back with either cooler ones or different ones or whatever, but inspirational photos, you could call it. So anyway, this is and I got another beautiful shot of this place. All right, this is just gorgeous, right? But here's what I want to show you that's really interesting. I have a behind the scenes shot. Now, it's not of me shooting. I was there with my friend Dave Williams, and he and I were both shooting there, along with our friend Peter, who was there. So the three of us are all three buddies, all shooting together. And I took this shot of Dave. But the reason I wanted to have a shot of Dave is because I love Dave. No, the reason why I wanted to have a picture was to show you what the magic of a super wide angle lens is. So I shot this shot and this shot with a 14 millimeter. So I will usually shoot with a 14 or a 16. So those are my super wides. Now my 16 is actually it's actually a 16 to 35, but if I have that lens on my camera, it's at 16. I didn't put it on there because I want a 35 millimeter shot, put it on there because I want a 16. But I'll also have a 14. But there's something magical that happens when you use a super wide angle lens, and second part of this is get down low. It makes small spaces look absolutely epic. So let's go back and take a look real quick at the shot here on screen. Let's take a look at this. So here are the two shots. Whoop, not that one. Here we go. This one and this one. And here's the behind the scenes shot. This is the entire cathedral. That's the whole place. It's only 4 pews in total. 4, that's it. Literally, I am standing in the open doorway to walk into the cathedral. That's how small it is. But when you use a wide angle lens down low, now it looks like Dave is using like a 16, I think there. When you get down low, and the key is to getting low, and you get this bigness and this hugeness that you can't get with a 24 or anything else. There's just, I'm telling you guys, it is a recipe that works amazingly well. Look how small it is. Literally, in 3 steps, you're at the front. I mean, it's just very, it's actually inside a children's hospital. So it's called St. Christopher's, and it is literally was picked up and moved inside this children's hospital inside of London. I can't think of the name of the children's hospital right now, but I have a class on Kelby 1 called Where to Shoot in London. So in there we talk about it. I give you all the details, the address, the GPS locations, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I wanted to share that one because I think I really shows the power of that super wide angle lens. The rest is easy. Put it on a tripod, aim up, click. The rest is easy. It's just, that's one of those things where having the right gear and knowing to shoot low does make a big difference. Mr. Kuna?
Yeah. So just to follow up, there was a couple questions Christina texted me about. So Ben was asking, how did I get access to the cars? And yes, they were all friends' cars. So the nice part about the Tesla community is very much about getting the word out about their cars. So it was awesome because I ended up getting to drive one over to Cape Canaveral and all that. That was really nice. And then how much total time do you have into that photo? There was probably a little bit more time into that photo. I mean, the post probably was a couple hours. And then the actual doing the photo was multiple days. I mean, but a couple hours for multiple days. So a pretty good amount of time going into those photos. And then Daniel had asked, do you know if Elon has seen your picture? I don't know if he's seen it like physically, but I know that he has liked it and like retweeted it. So he's obviously seen it somehow, or maybe not. We'll see. So, but anyways, next photo. Here's a photo. So this isn't the final photo. This is the inspiration for the photo. So this is a classic spot. Scott knows this spot. So this is Zion National Park. We're actually just standing on a bridge, shooting down towards the river. So you got shots like that where, you're just on this bridge, you're shooting this classic shot. Well, when I was looking at this shot and I was seeing this shot, I was like, man, it'd be really cool if I could figure out a way to kind of like, and there's actually Scott and I were there shooting with the new Canon EOS R, and that was another reason I took out photo pills at the time, and I said, man, if we could kind of get it to where the Milky Way would kind of come down this valley here and kind of like mirror itself in the river and kind of raise up above it, that would be a cool shot. So couple years before I had shot it, and then I had gone with Scott and we had shot, and we were all looking at it, and I was looking at it on photo pills, and I was like, if I can get back here in August, September, October, it would line up, and this would be a really cool shot to have. So I kind of wrote it down on my list, and I was like, and I know Scott does the same thing. We kind of keep a list of planned shots of things that we want to make sure, if I can get back here and do this, or if I can get back here and do that. So this is one of them. And then it just happened to, come up the opportunity after a Photoshop World where we were in Vegas. And I was like, well, hey, we could go over to Zion National Park and shoot this because it'd be perfect time of year. And so we ended up going there, and you could see that that's the camera. So there's the shot. We've got it set up. Tape over the viewfinder, because we don't want anything getting into the viewfinder. We're going to be doing longer exposures. I actually have, at the same time when I go out with my Milky Way shots, I tape up everything. So you can see, like, I've got tape over the LED lights, the tape over the lights on the wireless trigger, which I have, because you don't want to be that guy. Because what ended up happening on this shoot is we had those guys. So funny stories about this shoot. So I wish I had more behind the scenes of this shoot, and I don't know why I don't. But if I look to the left of me or I look to the right of me, there's 20 other people there. And what ends up happening is they're kind of staying there through the Milky Way. They're going to shoot that whole time. And there's a lot of people who don't cover that, and then they'll have their camera just flashing, their red light just out there, and then illuminating the scene. And then the nice part is we were able to educate a bunch of people on how to do that and how not to do that. So it was funny because in the beginning of the night we had a guy standing next to us, and so we ended up shooting this shot. So this is the shot right at, like, this is like late twilight. So this is really, really late twilight. We're just trying to get a baseline where we got some exposure on the foreground. We got some detail there because we're going to save this shot. So this shot was taken deep twilight. We take that shot. Then we waited around about an hour and a half later, and the Milky Way was lined up right with that river. So on the next shot, you can see how you got the Milky Way. It's coming down. You can actually see the Milky Way kind of illuminating the river a little bit, or kind of like, kind of getting into the river as well. So then what we do is we just took those two shots and then blended them together. So then you get a shot like that just from those two shots. So that was the shot I was after, is this river valley, kind of the Milky Way coming down, illuminating this scene with the river. And that's what we ended up with. And, it works out, and it does fine. But what was interesting about this shot, and I was with some other guys, and we're out there and we're shooting, and one of the guys next to us was really kind of, at the beginning of the night, was really kind of like very adamant about his settings. adamant about his what he was going to do and all this stuff, telling everybody about it. And I remember that, you know, I was there with Jason on our crew, and he was shooting next to me, and he took a shot the same spot and just showed the guy the back of his viewfinder. And the guy went, "Whoa, my photos don't look like that at all. What's going on?" And he had kind of been listening to us throughout the night, but he had kind of been ignoring what we were kind of saying. And the proof was in the pudding, because when you actually saw it, he changed all the settings. He did all the settings that we were telling him to do earlier in the night, which he kind of came around to, and then thanked us later for like showing us the right settings. So one of those things where it's just a funny story where, you know, sometimes when you're out there shooting, and I know, Scott, you probably see this a lot, is there's people that want to ask questions, they want to learn, they want to do that, and then there's other people out there who they're kind of like, they're set in their ways, they don't want to do anything differently. They're kind of like locked down, and I'm always one where I'll listen to anybody's like what opinions they have and stuff like that, because I think that's how we grow. And that's just one thing, is like, just never be locked down in your thinking, because you can learn a lot. And I've learned a lot from a lot of people out just shooting. It's always a great experience to be out there with other people.
I mean, that's how we learn. That's how we learn photography. Mm-hmm. Is none of us were born with this. None of us were born with the right settings. Yep. None of us were born with how to do this. It's friends telling friends. It's people taking classes, hopefully. But it's we share what we've learned. That's how we learn photography, you know. And Erik, I know that you watch our own Kelby 1 classes. I do as well. And we learn from other photographers. You know, we're lucky enough that we created an online education thing that we watch ourselves. I mean, we wanted to create something that we would watch ourselves, and we do. So but that's how we learn. You know,
absolutely.
You tell somebody, you learn something cool. When I learn something cool, I can't wait to tell somebody. I can't wait.
Exactly.
All right, I'm going to show one real quick thing here, and then we're going to jump off to a break. Actually, you know, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and take a break real quick. When we come back, we're going to be picking up with more. We're going to be sharing a few more stories. We want to do some shout outs. I know there's some folks out there we'd like to say hi to, and so we're hoping we can do that. And we will see you guys on just another minute or two. So stick around. We'll be right back live here on The Grid.
Is the tripod dead? Sure, a tripod works for basic shots, but who wants to be basic? You don't need basic, you need blockbuster. And that's a job for a platypod. The platypod is your go-anywhere, do-anything flat tripod base. Its compact design helps you discover unique angles that you could never reach with a typical tripod. So, whether you're bringing up baby, driving Miss Daisy, or with your beasts of the southern wild, you can capture big-budget footage and stills for a fraction of the time and money. So go ahead, shoot the next Rocky or Birdman. Or on the waterfront, the platypod is equipped to grip uneven surfaces and hang from just about anything. When tripods go low, the platypod goes lower. Its flat base reaches the lowest possible angle, resulting in truly inventive shots that can't be replicated with traditional equipment. And if you feel like adding a dramatic overhead angle, the platypod has you covered. Just strap it or screw it in, and you're ready to go within minutes. The platypod is constructed from aircraft-grade aluminum and titanium. Yeah, the stuff Air Force One is made of. So it's durable enough to travel with you from Chinatown to Casablanca and everywhere in between. If you only take the tripod, the story ends. You wake up the next morning with nothing but basic footage. Or you could take the platypod to a museum, or on an elevator, or strap it to a tree, or hanging on a bench at church, or put it on the ground and get incredible blockbuster footage. Who are we kidding? You should totally take the platypod. The tripod is not dead, but it needs a sidekick. The platypod.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Hey, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Mr. Erik Kuna. And guys, big news. We are coming to the very end of the Platyballs run on Indiegogo. So if you missed out on getting the first Platyball, right, that the Paul had that set Kickstarter on fire, if you missed out on that, let's not miss out twice. There's only 2 weeks left on Indiegogo. So after they went there, and the price goes up considerably after they go off of Indiegogo. So can we show the Indiegogo site? Can we?
Yeah, they got it up.
Oh, okay, great. I see. All right. Sorry. Anyway, but that's where you go. So if you just go to platyball.com, you will wind up at that site. So that's where you go. Go to Platyball, Platyball. You go over to the Indiegogo site. You can still save some money. You can get it, but before the price goes up again, and the price will go up, and then you kind of missed out. But anyway, don't miss out. This is the last 2 weeks of an Indiegogo. This is going to be the ball head that everyone's going to be using because like $600,000 worth of it have been sold already before it's ever made. It's that cool. So anyway, go to Indiegogo and check it out and make sure that you get in now. Only 2 weeks left. That's number one. Number two is I want to share something. On Friday night, I will be doing another after hours book chat. So I've done 2 of these. One was a total dumpster fire. The next one was less so. But you do get to see me in a smoking jacket. This time I'll have my bow tie with me. I'm very excited. It's Friday night, 9 p.m. East. No, we're going to move it to 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's right. We're changing it. So it's Friday night, this Friday night, 2 nights from now, Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be talking about my flash book. And so it's going to be the whole time we're going to be talking about my flash book. I'm going to be giving some examples. I'm going to try to get the publisher to let you download a free sample chapter. So I'm going to see if we can do that. I don't know if we can. I'm probably talking out of turn. I'll be taking your questions about Flash. So the whole night, it's you, it's me, and it's Flash time. It's Scott's After Hours Book Chat. I'll have my pipe, my smoking jacket. I may even have an ascot. I don't even know what one of those is, but I know it goes with the smoking jacket. Anyway, that's this Friday night. Please tell your friends, share it on social, and if you see me share it, please retweet it, reshare it, do whatever. It's a lot of fun there. We do have a lot of fun. It's really a chat. I read some chapter intros. I share some tips from the book. I take questions. We eat cheese. We drink wine. We eat spray cheese. It's a magical night. Erik, wouldn't you describe it, if you had to, in a word, as magical?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely magical.
See? It's magical. Anyway, that's coming up, this one. All right, can I move on to my next shot here?
Yeah, what's next?
All right. Now, is anything crazy happening on my screens, or is everything working correctly?
It looks like it's working correctly.
Okay, good, because you never know. All right. So let's take a look at this image. Now, when you look at this image, you may go, well, Scott, that looks quite similar to the Mojave desktop that Apple did. And if you're wondering, Scott, did Apple license your image from the Mojave desktop? No, I just ripped them off and tried it myself. So what I did was, when I saw the Mojave desktop, I'm like, hey, I got some dunes. I can add a white glow behind them and put a gradient back there. And so that's what I did. So that's what you're seeing here is not Apple's own picture. It's one that was close. That's mine that I took in Dubai. But so what is the technique for capturing these dunes? Like, obviously I added a blue tint in Lightroom, duh. And I added a gradient for the sky that goes from white to black. So that's because what the one I thought the Mojave one looked like. In fact, in a minute, I'll go see if I can find Apple's. Apple's is better, right? Because they didn't just grab one that was on their hard drive that kind of looked like what they wanted. They actually probably had somebody go make it. Because, they got a nice budget, Apple. I don't know if you noticed, but, they're doing pretty well. So I'm guessing they just didn't grab whatever they had on their computer like I did. So it's just They seem to be doing okay. Maybe it's me. I don't know. I see a lot of Apple stuff around. I'm not sure. Anyway, so how was this shot taken? Well, I think the behind the scenes shot is going to reveal a very lazy photographer. That's right. It was shot out of the back of an Uber. So we're in Dubai, and as it turns out, weird story, my passport got ripped. It was the tiniest little rip you've ever seen. It's like a 32nd of an inch, but it was just from being in my pocket. I don't know. I reached in there and I hit it, and I don't know what happened. It tore it a tiny bit. It freaked every customs agent out from here to Dubai and back, and there was some concern that I would not be able to get home. So I had to get back to the U.S. consulate before they closed, which I was able to, and I got my passport. Everything was fine, and well, here I am back home. Okay? So anyway, so we go. So I tell the driver, I want to go out to the desert, and I want to find some camels. Now, apparently, going to Dubai and asking to see camels is like coming to Florida or pretty much anywhere in the United States and saying, driver, I want to go see some cows. He thought we were the stupidest people he had ever had in his Uber. Anyway, he took us out there the whole time like, oh, God. Really, camels? So anyway, but camels are fascinating to us. So like, wow, camel. So we go out there, we find some camels. I have some camel shots, but anyway, that's not the story. So we find these dunes, and I wasn't this lazy. We were out there walking around in the dirt. But there was another shot I wanted to show you. Give me 1 second, because I think I have another shot. Hang on, don't move, don't breathe, don't make. It may take me a second to find this. So, but anyway,
well,
in fact,
while we're waiting,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, while we're waiting, we got a bunch of people joining us in the chat. So we got Ben saying hi, Scott and Erik, and then Patrick saying hi from Ireland. We got Jackie saying hi from Princeton, New Jersey. We got Frank from Baltimore, Becky G from Goodyear, Arizona. We got Mike from Phoenix, Arizona. We get Deb all the way from windy California. Gary from Raleigh, North Carolina. Then we got Jerry from the dreary Washington State. And then we have Carl saying hi from Quebec. So we got all people joining us all over the world. And then
glad to have everybody here. Okay, I found the shot.
That image?
I found it quicker
all right, cool.
than I was expecting. So this is the actual right before I got in that car. So there's a shopping center. There's like a 7-Eleven where we got drinks. There's gift shops. There's all this stuff. And there's a little mosque there, right there. And so literally we're in the parking lot over there. We get out. We take a bunch of shots. We get some water and some Diet Coke, some whatever. And the reason my lens looks so long and big and all crazy like that is literally because it's a shot with a 14mm lens. And it distorts things. So it's a little distorted. But anyway, so that's what's behind me, like a shopping center. We go and get in the car, and then as we're leaving the car, as we're leaving that spot, I see that. I look out and I see that real nice, and I go, stop. I asked the driver, stop 1 second, roll down the window, and I grabbed my camera. It was in the seat beside me, grabbed my camera and shot out the window. And it was a long way. It was 7,200, I think. What did I shoot at 7,200? Let's go look. Let me go look at that shot again.
Looks like
it. Yeah. It's 7,200. You can see I've got the rubber foldable, lens hood on it. And so I wasn't being as lazy as it appears that I am. It was just as we were driving away, I saw that particular beautiful sand dune, and I asked the driver to stop. And of course, he was thrilled to stop, as all Uber drivers are thrilled to provide service. Anyway. I'm just kidding. No, I've had nothing but luck with Uber drivers. Uber drivers are nice people, but not this guy in Dubai. Anyway, for the most part, they're lovely. Anyway, but that's the story behind my shot. There was it's not as lazy as it seems. All right, Mr. Kuna, you got another one?
All right. Yeah, I got another one, but I got to get ready for it. So they got to go up to you. Go one up on you.
Oh, well, then I'll do another one. I got another shot here. It won't take long.
All right.
So you get ready. Okay. So the shot we see on screen here is one that I took a number of years ago, we were shooting at the Hyatt Hotel, and one of the things I had been at, I can't remember where it was. I want to say WPPI in Vegas. And I was at the bar and I was having a meeting. In fact, I remember I was meeting with some wedding photographers, and there were some guys at the bar, and there was a wedding photographer at the bar, and he was one of those guys, let me tell you how to do this. Look, you do this, you do that. He was that guy. You know the guy I'm talking about? It was that guy. His name was Bobby. No, I don't know what his name was, but anyway, he says, look, and he said something. I'm not even talking to him, but I heard him. He's so loud and he's so making a big scene, that I heard him, and I put it in my memory. He said, give me a long veil and I'll give you magic. And I'm like, so when we were going out to this shoot, we went to David's Bridal, and I bought like an 8-foot long bridal veil. And so we go out there, and I'm telling you, it takes the least tiny bit, like 1 mile an hour wind, and that veil is like all over the place. So this is, we're shot on location. And the thing about this shot is, and it's been featured in ads and different things, it's been around. So if you've seen it before, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen that shot. So what it is the problem was what was behind her. Behind her was an ugly beach and some signage and all this junk. We're on a beach that's on the property of the the Hyatt. And it's just not a pretty scene. And so I'm sitting out there, and I have a bride, and I've got this thing blowing in the veil blowing in the wind. And I'm like, man, I got a nice setup here, but this looks terrible. So then I put her back to the sun, and then of course she's a silhouette. So there's a camera technique that I would use today that I know now that I would have used instead of using a reflector, but because I didn't know the camera technique, which is basically to overexpose by a stop and a half, which I would have done, I didn't do. So we held a reflector down low because I'm on the ground shooting up. And here's the behind the scenes shot. So I'm down low, I'm on my knees. There she is, and my assistant is holding a reflector to put some light back into her. But you can see like there's a sign in the background. There's a cornhole game. There's some ugly sticks showing up and some ugly bushes and all that and all. But the key was really to get rid of all that, to simplify the scene and just put the sky behind her. That's really what totally made the shot. And if you give me another second, I will show you real quickly. We're going to shoot over to me. I'm going to show you another shot taken at that same location. This will take me just a split second because, well, it just will. But I'll show you another shot taken in that same location, same bride, same everything, but you can see the veil better. So let me pop you over. Here's the veil. All right, and I'm shooting with a 70-200 so I can put the background out of focus. So look behind her, palm tree, bunch of ugly, distracting stuff. But look how the veil's taken off, right? The veil really just a little bit of, that was a great trick. And then there's the shot. She's actually having to hold the veil to keep it from flying away. But anyway, there was just a couple of shots from that same location. Did I stall long enough, Mr. Kuna?
Oh, no, I've been ready. I'm ready. Let's go. All right, so next shot.
I did not see that coming.
So, anyways, I'm wearing this because this is what shot we ended up getting. So, we did this shot. Maybe. There.
Another Kuna classic.
So this was a shot that we did. It was myself and my daughter. So we did this shot together. What I ended up doing was, we had bought a kind of a astronaut costume, but I went and I knew I have to get at least a good enough astronaut costume to do this. So this actually, let me show you. The inspiration for this actually came from here. So this is actually outside the at Kennedy Space Center. When you go there and visit, this is outside where the space shuttle is facility, where it's stored, where you can go watch or see it. So they've got this saying, from Carl Sagan, and we got thinking like it'd be really cool if we had an astronaut pointing up at the saying and then having a rocket flying over top of it. So we're like, yeah, okay, let's try that. So first things first, we went and got this astronaut costume. So there's a shot of my daughter. We kind of did some test shots with it, you know. So we had the costume, the helmet, the boots, the glove, and all together, this costume ended up costing me over $200, which actually became a big point of contention between my wife and I, that we had spent a couple $100 on this shoot for a photo shoot. And we were talking about it. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And then what it ended up being, we were trying to convince that this was actually going to be her Halloween costume as well as this photo shoot costume. So it was like two birds with one stone. I mean, this is great. You know, we'll get the Halloween costume and we'll get a cool shot. Yeah. So we ran some tests. So one of the things that we did, we found different poses. So, and then we found this pose that we were like, it'd be really cool if it was one finger up, hand down, kind of on like that. So what we did is we found a launch that we could go to where it'd be a streak that goes over top. We went out to the beach. So she put on the costume. We went out to the beach. And then we ended up finding a place on the beach. So what we did here was we found a place where we would have these dunes. So right by the water here, there's these dunes that come along the shore. So I knew if we got low enough into the dunes that it would cover all the pier and the lights and the people out there, and it'd just be us on these on the edges of these dunes. And then so what we did is we just took out. I had a rapid box with a flash, mounted that again to a pole, and had her just point up right over the middle, and that's where we lit her. So you can see in the shot, she is lit. So this is actually 3 shots in one shot. So there's her being lit by the rapid box, and that's where you're getting that foreground light in here. Then there's one shot where you're seeing the actual rocket streak as well as some of the foreground. And then the stars are taking right after the rocket left. We took pictures of we just took a picture of the stars, kind of the same settings we'd use for the Milky Way, and then combine those 3 together and then put in the saying. And then that's where we walked out with this. So this ended up being a really cool shot too, because this is one where the Planetary Society, who's basically Carl Sagan started the Planetary Society years ago, ended up really loving this picture and wanted to use this picture. And that's the guy, the CEO of the Planetary Society nowadays is Bill Nye. So she thought that was really cool that Bill Nye saw her photo and got to see her photo. So that was really cool. So
we'll see. Like Bill Nye's the science guy, and you're Erik Kuna, the rocket guy.
There you go.
Or the Rocket Man.
So.
All right, I'm going to wrap up with a couple, and then we're going to roll out of here because we're already past time, right?
Oh yeah. We probably should take one more break. We need to take one more break, and then we come back. We could wrap it up.
Let's take a break, and we got some giveaways. So hey, before we bounce out to the break, we're going to be giving away another one of my photo recipe books today. We actually are shipping. We have the actual hard copies. Because of the virus, we weren't all at the office, and we're still not all at the office, but enough of us are there that we could actually ship a print book now. So we're gonna give away a copy of my book called Photo Recipes, and it's very much like what you're seeing today, which is an image, a behind the scenes image, and a description of how to get a similar shot. It's a whole book like that. So we're gonna give away a signed copy of that. We're also gonna give away a Platypod Ultra. And do we have anything else to give away? Don't we have something else, Erik?
So we got the Lytra, we got the Platypod.
I didn't mention the Lytra. We're giving away a Lytra?
Lytra, yes.
All right.
Yes, Lytra, Platypod, book. I think that's it.
All right. I thought we were going to give away a Slick Pick membership.
That's it. We were giving away a Slick Pick. I got to go look it up, but we're giving away something for Slick Pick.
All right, we got 4. Okay.
Yes.
So how do you enter the contest? 4. Just go leave us a comment. But you got to tell us what you want. You got to say. I'm sorry.
It's a Slick Pick master level account, so it's their highest level account.
Ooh,
Yes.
nice. All right, all right. Hey, Erik, don't you know somebody at Slick Pick? Can you get me and you one? We'll just steal it from
I
them.
know, right?
Let's just say there's not a giveaway, and we can have.
Never mind.
Okay. So how do you enter? Leave us a comment, but you need to tell us what you want. You can just write book, platypod, ultra, just platypod. We know what you mean. Slick Pick or Lytra. Just tell us what you want to win. It's important, because if not, we might send you something you don't want. You're like, I don't want this. You send me something crazy. Drop us a comment, and in just a few minutes, we're going to pull the winners live on the air. So go do that right now while we jump to this break. When we come back, I've got 2 more pictures to show you, the images and the stories behind them. We'll be right back.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
All right, we're back.
Sorry, I was calling Terry. Asking
Hey,
Terry
Terry.
about I love that outfit, Erik. You know why? It
Well,
really works
I got to
with
get
the
use
red-
out of this.
it works
I've
with
got
the
to get
red
use
thing.
out of it.
You're like, I was trying something technological wise. It didn't work. Hang on, let me
Yeah.
switch back here on
My
my
wife said I have to wear this mask
crazy
all the time
screens,
now.
or I won't be able to hear you at all. And now I can't find my mouse. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Don't move. Don't breathe. Don't make a sound. I just got to switch this one thing.
You can actually see my lights now. You can see my key light and my fill light.
Oh
Look at
yeah,
that.
your key and fill. You're something. Back to our story, folks. How I'm going to show now. Don't forget, go enter the contest real quick. But the red shirt and the whole thing, it works really well. It looks very.
Oh yes. This is how I go to the grocery. This is how I go to the grocery store. I go to Publix. I'm like,
you should. It's very safe.
I'm ready.
Very, very safe. All right, let me hold on one second here. I've lost my mouse. That's terrible. Oh, it's back. You know what it is? I haven't owned a mouse pad in years, but I'm working off this iMac to do the streaming, and I've never needed a mouse pad more than I do right now. All right, so let me go and show you a couple of quick images and the story behind them, and we're going to wrap up here. So this image was actually taken on a workshop, and the reason why I mention this is two things. So first off, I got the idea that I wanted to use an old French car. So all you have to do, and this is all I did, was I went online and I searched for, this is a Citroen is what it is. I searched for Citroen rental. Now, you could rent one and they were quite expensive, or you could get a tour in one. You could get a tour guide to take you around in the Citroen for next to nothing. It was very inexpensive. So I called them and said, look, I don't really want a tour. I just want to take a picture with the car. And they were like, yeah, no problem. And they had a number of different cars, and this was the one that was available at the time and the date that I wanted to use it. Then I wanted to find a place to park it. Literally, you got this giant city, and I want to find a place that's timeless, something that doesn't look very modern, something that looks really cute and quaint to park it. And then I wanted to take my whole group there. And I set up these shoots without telling the group. I go, we have a surprise shoot. It's off, As it turned out, just absolutely 100% complete luck. This location, just absolute luck, was 2 blocks from our hotel. Literally, it was around the corner from our hotel. So we were able to just walk there. I drove there in the car, but 2 or 3 blocks, very, very, very close, right around the corner. So anyway, we rented the car. And it's a tour. So it worked out great. We got there, and we were lucky in that there were no other cars parked in front. Had there been a car in front, it would have been pretty bad. And what we did that was nice was the driver of the car was absolutely fantastic. I mean, super nice guy. And I believe that if you want to rent something in Paris, I believe it's called Cedric's is the name of the Cedric's Citroen. If you search for that, you'll find it Cedricks. Or CS, there's no K on the end. Cedric's, and anyway, it's very inexpensive, super nice guy. And we get there, and he goes, Notre Dame is right behind you. Do you want me to pull my car down the street? And from where he pulled it, you couldn't see the horrible damage to the cathedral. So he pulled it down the street, and this is 50 feet from where we were, same street, same everything. And this is a behind-the-scenes shot. And this BMW or whatever behind it came up, and they just turned around and left. They were like, okay, they're doing a photo shoot. But these are my students here, and I think I have one more shot to show you. Oh, there. Anyway, that's it. That's the Citroen. And very cool, very photogenic. So that's something to think about when you're going to a town. What is the classic car from that, that era? It's a great thing to pose with. The second thing is this shot. So number one, we're shooting in Paris, obviously, the Arc de Triomphe on what has to be the single busiest street in all of Paris. How do you get a shot without any cars? You just get up early. We got up at dawn. We left our hotel at like 4:45 in the morning. We caught a bunch of Ubers or whatever. I forget how we got there, some vans, and we got to this location. The police there had been some protests and things in Paris. So there was police, and they wouldn't let us get up by the arch. But really, you don't want to take shots right up at the arch. You want to take shots of the arc. So we're across the street. We find a little puddle, which is always key. All we need is a little tiny puddle. And that's how we got this shot and some others. I have a behind the scenes shot, and these are my students' cameras and mine all lined up. And it's not a platypod ad, but it kind of is. So look, everyone's got a platypod, and we're about to give one away. So look, you can see my EOS R there turned sideways with a little screen out. And you got, looks like a Canon 5D Mark IV, a Sony, another Canon, and then there's my EOS R. And so this is it. Look how small that puddle is. Do you see the puddle in front? Now, I'm going to go back to the image. See what a nice reflection it gives? Just that little tiny, just need a little bit of water. Thank you, Mimo. Mimo's the one that taught us that trick, and Mimo was with me. He's my co-instructor. And you know what's terrible? You know what's really stinks? You know what's terrible? Tomorrow, my workshop in Prague, that's been sold out since before I announced it to the public, was supposed to start tomorrow in Prague. Needless to say, we're not going to Prague tomorrow. We had to postpone the workshop, but it was going to be tomorrow. Erik, I was going to be in Prague with 12 of the coolest people you ever met because I knew everybody that was going. They were so cool. We had such a great, it was going to be a magical week. We had the perfect hotel. You know what the weather's like right there now? Perfect.
Great. Yeah.
Stinking virus. Anyway. So those are my two stories, and we're way over time, like 22 minutes over. So let's find.
I got some winners, though.
I got winners. Do you have the winners?
So I do. Glenn Hewitt has won the Lytra light.
Nice.
And then we have Jeff I'm having a hard time with this name. D'Agostino, I believe. D'Agostino. Has won the Platypod. And then Gary Breckenheim has won the Slick Pick Master Level account. And then Woody won your book. So Woody and all the people that won, just contact us at gridprize@kelby1.com. Just send us an email, gridprize@kelby1.com, and let us know where you'd like us to send that. So
there you go.
There you go.
You're all set. Well, thanks and welcome to Slick Pick and Lytra. We're so glad to have our new sponsors. These sponsors are what make us be able to do this show. So we're very grateful to them for their support. And we are very, very, very picky about who we choose as sponsors. So we want to welcome them aboard. They're great companies with great products, and we're happy to have them with us. All right, Erik, any last words, comments, fan mail from some Flounder, anything?
Nah, I'm going to get ready to go. All right, see ya.
Erik's ready to blast off. Don't forget, Friday night.
I'm ready to go.
Friday night, 8 p.m. Here, I got to bring up the graphic again just because we can, because I got a thing. Don't forget, Friday, 8 p.m. Go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/skelby. Everybody's invited. Tell your friends it's on my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Skelby, Skelby. That's where I'll be. I'm going to be talking about my flash book. We're going to be giving away some $50 gift cards to Rocky Nook Publishing. I'm going to be talking about some other books on lighting that are fantastic. And I will give you a heads up. Rocky Nook, during the broadcast, gives more than 50% off. Literally more than 50% off. And it's not like where Amazon can't ship it to you because they're only shipping essential items. They got them in their warehouse. They'll ship them immediately. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good time. You're going to probably win something. You might even get a free chapter download. I don't know. We're going to find out. And it's all a big mystery. And you'll never know unless you're there Friday night, 8 p.m. It's me, no Rocket Man. I'm flying solo. Erik, this is going to be the thumbnail for this video. You know that. Can we go one up on Erik? Right, it's really important so we capture this thumbnail. Go one up on the Rocket Man. There we go. Smile.
Hey.
There we go.
Hey, remember this. Astronauts launching from American soil next week on a SpaceX rocket.
10 years, right?
Almost 10 years.
10 years? Incredible.
So,
all right. Well, thanks to you guys. Thanks,
week.
Mr. Kuna. Thanks to Ron, and thanks to Jason and Christina and our whole crew for making this possible. See you Friday night. Everybody have a great week. We love you. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time. Take care, everybody.